Welcome to the Interesting Football Podcast. My name is Laurie Knox and I'm joined by former Hauling Miners right back Simon Day as we attempt to uncover the most interesting club in English football. Each week we'll bring you the three most interesting facts about one club, their most bizarre fan, and Simon will attempt to beat par in our 1-minute quiz. Simon Day, how are you? But more importantly, what are your first thoughts when you hear the name Arsenal?
I'm excellent. And my first thoughts when I hear the word Arsenal is that Arsenal versus West Ham in 1985 was my first ever football match.
We're the same age at school. You were 5 when you went to football. That's pretty impressive. I think I was 11.
Yeah, I wasn't like on the North Bank starting chants or anything. But yeah, my dad took me to Arsenal West Ham.
Do you have any memories of that?
My brain's saying it was a 0-0 draw.
Oh, I wonder what Google says.
Okay. I can't remember this, but I'm pretty sure around that time the likes of sort of Frank McAvenny and Charlie Nicholas would have been playing. So my dad wanted me to have strong role models at that age.
Nice. Well, for me and for all Sheffield Wednesday fans of my vintage, I mean, Arsenal, two cups in one season, obviously, 92-93 season. It promised so much. It was a massive thorn in my childhood. And as a personal memory from those, I actually went to the first FA final that year because, of course, there were replays back then. I went to the draw, the 1-1 game, but I was in the Arsenal end, so it was a funny day. I remember the FA Cup final replay when Waddle equalised. One of the only times I've been conscious, not drunk, and I've lost about 10 seconds of my life. I remember Waddle scoring, and the next thing, I was jumping around in the front garden, waving my Wembley flag. I couldn't actually remember I assume I ran down the stairs rather than jumped out the window. But I lost myself for a second. But there we go.
And then it all went wrong.
It did indeed. Let's move on to that before I start crying. So, Simon Day, we're going to see who are the most interesting football club in England. The three facts. Let's hear the first of your three facts for Arsenal.
Well, seeing as Arsenal first, I quite fancy their chances of taking this lineal title at the first time of asking. But fact number one about Arsenal is that Arsenal were involved in the first ever live football match to be broadcast on the radio. They were involved in the first game to be broadcast live on TV, and they were involved in the first game ever to be broadcast live in 3D on TV. Yeah, it was in 2010 against Manchester United. I don't know the result, and it was before Sky came up with the 3D channel, and they started broadcasting a load of games in 3D, and this was kind of the pilot for that. Because there was a period around that time where there was a lot of football and other stuff and films, and I think the Ryder Cup was in 3D.
Do they still do that anymore?
No, they quietly mothballed it a few years ago because it's stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched one movie at the cinema, maybe two with the 3D glasses, and every 10 minutes I just had to take the glasses off, blink 100 times in 10 seconds, and then put them on again and sit in pain.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? 3D is never going to take off until you don't have to wear the glasses.
Right, until you got your Oculus headset or whatever they're called.
It's ridiculous. I dare say there will be a time in like 10 years' time when someone like, let's say Amazon, decide to have another bash at the 3D thing. Because this 2010 venture wasn't the first time, was it?
No.
There was like 3D films in the 80s.
Yeah, I think Nightmare on Elm Street 5, I seem to think, as being the first big one that I remember anyway.
Oh, I put Jaws 3 was Jaws 3D. That came out in 3D. There was I think one of the Halloween ones. Sorry, not one of the Halloween. One of the Friday the 13th ones might have been in 3D as well. Because horror lends itself to that sort of thing. The only film I've seen at the cinema in 3D was one of the Final Destination films, where I could sort of use the 3D effects for the elaborate deaths. So that kind of worked quite well.
I wonder whether you actually need it, though, because, with the IMAX theatre, all of that kind of stuff, where you have it kind of overhead, going around the side, the sounds, how much more is 3D really adding to the experience? And obviously a personal cost.
Well, certainly in a football match, it doesn't add anything, does it?
No.
In fact, I'd argue it's a distraction.
Right. Yeah, so Arsenal pioneers, you said in radio, TV, and then in 3D. They weren't pioneers of the Premier League. Do you remember the first ever Premier League match on Sky?
I can't remember the game, but I think the Shaman performed live at half time.
That was the Sunday game was Forest beating Liverpool 1-0, I think. But yeah, the first Monday night football, that was a QPR game where the Shaman played. Yeah, Easer Good.
Was it Ebenezer? I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember whether it was Ebenezer Good or Bostrom or Love Sex Intelligence.
No,
another. That's the end of my Shaman knowledge. But yeah,
I just wanted to say Ebenezer Good. I can't actually remember the set they played, but
set. Surely just one song. And wasn't there like the Sky Strikers as well? They were the cheerleaders, weren't they?
I bet they were terrible. I don't. I know. I think when you see things like the Beijing Olympics and everybody, how well choreographed it all is, and then when you see things like cheerleaders and English football, it's a little bit embarrassing, isn't it? It's
See, also the NFL. When you see the cheerleaders in the NFL, and they're proper like gymnasts,
right?
And
it's a sport, isn't it? Like, they'll go to university. What sport do you play? I was doing cheerleading for 4 years.
Absolutely. They used to have cheerleaders at Gillingham.
Right.
They were called G-Force.
G-Force. I was about to go for the Gillettes. Then I just realised there's a... then I realised there was
special. They're G-Force. Which was...
Right.
I think they literally did used to just stand either side of the players when they come out and wave the pom-poms, and that was it.
I can imagine. I think, I'm pretty sure Wednesday have had something similar. Yeah. It's anyway. It's thankfully dying a death, that one in football. But okay, so there we go. For a decent start to the fact, Arsenal, pioneers. I mean, they've been in the top division longer than anyone else, I believe. So pioneers in football media. And now we go on to our 1 minute quiz. So the 1 minute quiz, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set Simon Day a par. So we've got, for example, this week we have 13 correct answers. Par is going to be 9. If Simon gets 9 answers right, it's a draw. If he gets fewer than 9, I win. If he gets more than 9, he wins. And this week's 1 minute quiz is about Arsenal's top goal scorers. So since the 1987-88 season, 13 men have been top scorer for Arsenal, both league and cup competitions. So 13 correct answers. Simon Day, you have 60 seconds to get as many as you can. Good luck. Time starts now.
Does that include this season?
Okay, let me start the time again. 87-88 to the end of last season. Your time
not that I know who it is this season, but
fair enough. Let's go
for it. Thierry Henry.
Yes.
Robin van Persie.
Yes.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
There's 4. No, sorry, 3.
3. Ian Wright must have been.
Of course, I think it's about 6 or 7 in a row.
If Aubameyang was, I'm guessing Lacazette was been at some point.
Lacazette was indeed. Yeah, we're on 5 now. Decent start. 38 seconds to go.
So when did the Premier League start? 91. Alan Smith back then?
Alan Smith, 87-88. So that takes us up to 96. Alan Smith and Ian Wright top scored every season till 96.
And then after that, there's a few missing. Bergkamp must have been one of the
Bergkamp, your lookalike.
He was when I was a kid, yeah. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Fair enough. You've got 15 seconds left. Two right. To get past.
Hang on then. So there's a big after Van Persie. There's a big sort of gap. The big Emmanuel Adebayor.
Yes, there's number 8. 4 seconds to go. And we're out of time. We're all out of time. Right. That is, just to confirm, 1, 2, you've got Smith, Wright, Bergkamp, Henry, Van Persie, Adebayor, Lacazette, and Aubameyang. That is 8. You are 1 below par. I am the champion. You missed out Nicola Anelka.
Yeah, I just thought of him. It's too late.
Fabregas, 1 I don't think you would have got. I certainly would not have got this. Theo Walcott was a top scorer at Arsenal one season.
Theo Walcott's in his 30s now, isn't he?
Is he? Right.
I find that weird. He's always 17 to me.
Tony Adams was the one from our youth, because Tony Adams, I think he got in the England setup really young, didn't he?
Yes,
I felt like Tony Adams was just like always 26, but there we go. So Walcott, we've got Giroud, Alexis Sanchez. There we go. Those are the few you missed. But decent effort. We'll play again next week at Aston Villa. So that takes us on to the second fact.
The second fact is Thierry Henry signed for Arsenal after bumping into Arsene Wenger at a Huey Lewis in the News gig.
See, this is the kind of fact I want. This is an absolute beauty. Do we have any more details on that?
Very hard to find. It basically, the signing was a bit out of the blue, and Henry, who was at Juve at the time, was lined up with quite a few of the big clubs in Europe. And then out of the blue, he bumped into Arsene Wenger at Huey Lewis in the News gig, backstage, presumably. Well, I don't think they were like in the mosh. I can't imagine there was a mosh pit at Huey Lewis in the News gig. But I can't imagine they were near the front. There are these people who turn up like 4 hours before a gig just to get at the front. And Arsene and Thierry were stood next to each other. But anyway, they had a chat, and one thing led to another, and Thierry Henry signed for Arsenal and was probably, until Ronaldo pitched up, was probably the best ever player in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I'd say Henry, for me, in terms of as they fit into a team, possibly up there with the best player I've ever seen. He was just perfect for that Arsenal team. But a really good example of the kind of player who's perfect for a setup. But, was he ever quite anywhere near his level anywhere else other than Arsenal? For example, I think if you put Thierry Henry in the Gillingham team, would he still be smashing in 30 goals a season? I'm not so sure. For me, I think Henry was.
No, he would.
You think?
Even now, he would. Yeah, that is nonsense. Because I think obviously he wouldn't get the chances. Obviously, you could say the pitches are a bit inferior. He'd probably get fouled quite a lot.
I'm thinking about the service more. For me, it's about the.
He'd have to go and get it. He wouldn't get any service. He'd have to just drop back into midfield to get the ball.
Right.
The service would be woeful.
Okay, maybe getting 30 goals a season at Gillingham was a bad example, but would he be anywhere? Was he ever anywhere as good?
He did pretty well for France, didn't he? Let's be fair, and he did all right at Barcelona afterwards. But Arsenal was just a perfect fit for him.
Right. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Sorry, I'm not trying to say he was a bad player. He did okay elsewhere.
Episode 1 from Thierry Henry crap. That's what we're saying.
But at Arsenal, he went from being a good player to up there with the best I've ever seen.
Do you remember when you were probably living in South Korea at the time when Sky signed Thierry Henry to be a pundit?
I do not.
Right, yeah, I think it was around the time. It was around the time we were out of the country. And it was like the hype around it was the same way they hype like an Anthony Joshua fight or the Ryder Cup or something. It was like Henry is coming for about 2 months before he actually turned up.
Nice.
This was like their 3D basically. This was changing the landscape of football broadcasting. And then Thierry Henry pitched up, and he weren't all that really.
I was going to say, because Henry's he's clearly a really bright guy who kind of I could imagine why they'd get excited about it, but at the same time, he's never really had that kind of celebrity status of your Ronaldos or even a Jack Grealish. I think in the British media probably gets more attention than your own. So I can't imagine building your.
No matter how good he is, you're not going to turn. Have you ever turned into a football match just because of who the pundit is?
No, I think probably in the past, maybe if there's a Sheffield Wednesday connection, I would have done, but obviously that doesn't happen anymore. So yeah, that's going to be a no from me.
Yeah, absolutely. I quite like some pundits. I quite like Roy Keane, and I quite like. That's pretty.
Actually, there's a good shout. Richards and Keane, when they're on together, if I knew about it, if you said to me, "Oh, Richards and Keane are on the Sky or BT right now," I'd probably tune in because they're quite good value for money.
They are quite good value. For money.
Going back to Huey Lewis and the News, here's a comment. Do you think this is just a cover story because Wenger tapped him when he shouldn't have been?
Quite.
Let's throw that one.
And it's such a left field cover story that no one's going to question it.
Quite often, the whole thing when it seems too good to be true, when it seems like Arsene Wenger just bumped into Thierry Henry and Huey Lewis in the News. If it seems too good to be true, normally, I'm just going to throw that one out there. We're keeping this as our fact. It's a great fact, but I'm just going to put a little bit of suspicion in there.
I buy it. They both seem like the sort of people who might like Huey Lewis in the News for some reason.
I'm a huge boxing fan, right? And everything about boxing is shady. Every time somebody, he's out injured. Oh no, he came off his drug cycle or what have you, and the testers are coming. Nothing's ever as it seems. No. So forgive me for my cynicism.
Do you know what? Briefly to mention boxing, what annoys me about boxing more than anything about boxing? Rematches. It's the only sport where you get. It's the only sport where you get a rematch. It's not like Chelsea beat Man City in the Champions League final, but Pep Guardiola putting a rematch clause into the match. So 2 weeks time, they're going to do it all again. It's not. It's like Usyk beat Joshua fair and square, didn't they?
He did indeed.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was no. I kind of get it. Maybe if it's a split decision, okay, or it's sort of it ends because of a cut or something, then I'll buy that. But if one fighter has beaten another fighter fair and square, comprehensively. Why is the loser entitled to a rematch?
Yeah, I know. I see where you're coming from there. And on that subject, kind of like boxing contracts, about Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank for their second fight? Don King promoted it, and the winner would then come under would be part of Don King's stable. That was the deal. Okay. And it turned out to be a draw, but Don King, of all people, hadn't thought about that, hadn't put it in the contract, so they both walked away free from Don King. There we go.
I'd have thought Don King would have put it in the contract that meant they both had to join him.
You'd think so. From somebody who's killed people, you think he's a bit more savvy than that. But
amateur.
Okay, so this is Arsenal. This is a strong start. I think the other 19 Premier League clubs are going to struggle to beat this so far. But I say that. Wait till you hear the bizarre fan. So Arsenal, I feel like Arsenal got quite a lot of celebrity fans, like hardcore fans. That's maybe just biased because I keep thinking of the Nick Hornby novel. But without a doubt, their most bizarre fan has to be a certain Mr. Osama Bin Laden, who apparently, when he was a student in London, he used to regularly go and sit in the clock end at Highbury. Brilliant. In terms of bizarre fans, I think we might as well just shut up shop now and go, because we're not going to beat that, are we?
Unless we discover that Harold Shipman was a Burnley season ticket holder or something like that.
Mother Teresa at Millwall, something like that.
Yeah, I think we're struggling to beat this, aren't we? Yes. Because he's not. It's also, this isn't one of those. Oh yeah, he follows Arsenal type things. He was a legit supporter. He used to go to matches.
Apparently so. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to be strict to this bizarre fan. I'm not going to have any of these. Somebody wore an Arsenal shirt. No. This guy actually sat in the clock end, the fabled clock end.
You won't be accepting.
And now his family
for Fulham.
I won't be accepting. Probably not. Probably not.
A Fulham fan. But so I find Osama Bin Laden, right? He was a student in London, yeah. So do you think then there's some people kicking around at the minute in London, say, who were mates with Osama Bin Laden when he was at university?
I suppose there must have been, yeah.
Or go to matches with him.
Oh, yeah.
That's mad, isn't
having
it?
That and you're flicking through your iPhone photos. That's my daughter on the beach. That's me and Osama at the clock end.
But it stands to reason, doesn't it?
It does. And another fun fact is that the Bin Laden family now fund Sheffield United.
Do they?
They lent money to Sheffield United. Although, to be fair, it's obviously a big family, and he's the black sheep of the family. So
very much so. Also, the other fun Osama Bin Laden fact is his height, isn't it?
Yeah, 6'7", isn't he? 6 or 7.
He's a crouchy of a man.
I'd be sticking at centre back personally if it was one of those Roy of the Rovers situations. Somebody gets injured and they ask somebody in the crowd, and Osama Bin Laden puts his hand up.
Yeah.
Okay, you're centre back, mate.
He's good at defending his territory, isn't he? But also, if you're in the clock end, you don't want to be sat behind Osama, do you? You ain't going to get much of a view.
No, this is true, especially if he's got a backpack on. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, but so yeah, I think you'll struggle to beat Osama Bin Laden as a bizarre fan.
Yes. I'm glad he gets your thumb of approval there for a bizarre fan.
The official verdict is a thumbs up for Osama Bin Laden.
I don't envy you now, Mr. Day, because you've now got fact 3, and it's just going to pale into insignificance after that.
This is a bit of a come down, yeah. In 1928 game between Arsenal and Sheffield Wednesday was the first ever match to feature shirt numbers.
Ooh.
Weirdly,
Okay.
Arsenal wore shirt numbers 1 to 11, and Sheffield Wednesday wore shirt numbers 12 to 22.
That is interesting. And you know what? I seem to remember that the 93 League Cup final, previously mentioned, Steve Morrow and all that, was the first game in English football to have names on the back of the shirt. So they actually had squad numbers, as in like Wednesday had players who were like number 12 starting the match, which never happened at that time. It was always 1 to 11, wasn't it? Back in those days. And so they also had they had squad numbers and names. So there we go. Arsenal trailblazers again.
That was like a proper sort of marketing step forward for football clubs, wasn't it? When you could start having names and numbers on the back of shirts.
How do you feel about that? Do you think do you hark back to the days of 1 to 11, or what do you think?
Couldn't care less. That honestly, that falls into the. If I gave my opinion, it'd be really forced. Honestly, I couldn't tell you at Gillingham who wears what shirt number apart from the goalkeeper. It's not in my.
Fair enough.
I couldn't care less.
Although on the subject of shirt numbers, one thing we can all agree is that retiring shirt numbers is an absolute joke. I say it was a great move when like West Ham did it when Bobby Moore. Okay, there you go. Bobby Moore, Mr. West Ham United, the only captain ever to win a World Cup for England. I completely get why West Ham would retire that shirt number. Club legend, he after his death, right? But then you get, and the most obvious one here is Jude Bellingham at Birmingham, playing, 20 matches.
Yeah, and he was 17 when they retired his shirt number.
I mean, that if he breaks his leg and never comes back, is never any good. They're just going to unretire it, aren't they? Quietly unretire it in a couple of years if that were to happen. I mean,
there was a famous case of an unretiring of a shirt when Raul went to Schalke at the back end of his career. He had a couple of really good seasons there, and they retired his shirt. I'm assuming he kept the number 7 shirt. Schalke retired his shirt for a year until another player came along and wanted to wear number 7. So they unretired it for him.
Yeah, I mean that's.
You not really followed it through there, have you?
No, I mean even I think even like Wednesday legends of my youth, Des Walker, Chris Waddle, Sheridan Hurst. I mean, I wouldn't want their shirt numbers retired. No, I mean, it's just. I mean, if one of them had played for the club for 15 years and I know then went on to Matt, I know, but no, I still wouldn't want it. There are very Bobby Moore's the only one off the top of my head who I think you know what. That's spot on. That's a great move, doing that.
Yeah.
The rest of them are a load of nonsense.
So this shirt number thing, this was 1928, and it was one of Herbert Chapman's. He was the Arsenal manager at the time. It was one of his innovations.
Right.
And he was one of the very first actual football managers, rather than it being done by committee or I don't know how else football teams used to get picked. But yeah, he was legit manager, and he was very hands-on.
So he's pretty famous for being an innovator, right?
Yes, so he introduced loads of stuff. He was one of the innovators of floodlights in football.
Damn.
Football grounds. He was one of the first English managers to sign black and foreign players. He even arranged for the local tube station to be changed names to Arsenal to try and attract more fans.
Oh, that's a good fact. I like that one too. We're getting bonus facts here.
He helped design the scoreboard and the turnstiles at Highbury.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So it was like he was always banging on the chairman's door with like, yeah, I've got another idea, chairman.
And surely Arsenal have still got some sort of memorial. I mean, have they got a stand named after him or anything like that?
Well, yeah, that's the thing though, isn't it? These sort of new grounds, they don't have stands, do they?
Surely they still have particular end. I mean, if you get
they might have an end. You might have an end. They're just bowls, aren't they? There's no sort of there's not 4 different stands, are there? It's just one continuous bowl. So I'm sure there's probably this Herbert Chapman executive suite or something, isn't there?
Right.
Or there'll be a Herbert Chapman burger you can buy at the.
Yeah, maybe it is. I always thought, I've just got the Arsenal Stadium map, and I just see yellow quadrant, orange quadrant, blue. But I remember, isn't the Etihad? Didn't that had end names, didn't it? Because there was obviously the Colin Bell controversy.
Oh, the Bell End, yeah,
yes.
Yeah. That's not quite a bowl though, the Etihad. I think that's that was a bit earlier.
Okay.
That's not, but that's almost like 20 years old, the Etihad, I think.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think it was built for the Commonwealth Games in like
right.
02, 03, I think.
So it was. So this is news for me. I did not realise bowls. I just assumed they would have just ends. Okay. This is news to me.
They
I didn't
might be called
realise.
ends. No, they might be called ends.
I mean,
there might be like in cricket grounds have ends, don't they? So there might be like the Stretford end is still at Manchester United, isn't it? But there's not 4 separate stands.
No. But I'm struggling to find the names of different stands here. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here's one. Okay, they've got the North Bank, East Stand, West Stand, and Clock End. It says apparently the Emirates seating plan. Okay, so
they just copied, but they're not actually stands. They just copied what used to be at the Highbury.
Right. Yeah, that's a bit rubbish.
So, no Chapman though.
No Chapman, no, which is a big surprise. I'm sure they've probably got like some pub in the ground named after him or something.
I think
like
it's
that.
a burger. I think there'll be a Herbert burger you could buy, or there'll be like a one of the bars is named after him, Chapman's Bar, something like that.
On the subject of stealing names, has anyone ever successfully or unsuccessfully come up with a name like Sunderland and the Stadium of Light? That has to be the worst name. You had so many. You had an infinite options, and you just copied a random Portuguese stadium. I mean, what? Why?
Well, and also, I'm sure this is correct. In the Benfica Stadium, which I've been to actually, beautiful stadium, is called the Stadium of Light, I think, because Light is the name of the suburb it's in.
Right. Okay.
It's got nothing to do with light. It's just where it is. Whereas obviously the one in Sunderland, I mean, it's just nonsense, isn't it? You are one step away from just calling it. Yeah, we're going to call it the New Camp.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, pretty much exactly what they've done, right? Just picked a random. Yeah. And to be fair to the Sunderland fans, they were so pissed off when that happened. I seem to remember like a news story. Sunderland fans go, "It's just disgusting. We've just stolen somebody's name." Which, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know how they feel about it now. Maybe it's.
It just sounds really tacky, doesn't? Well, is it still called the Stadium of Light, or is it now like the Ladbroke Stadium of Light or something?
Right. That's the thing. How do you feel about? Has Gillingham ever renamed their stadium?
Yeah. It's the KRBS Priestfield, which is like local building society.
And I mean,
I don't know if it still is, to be fair, but yeah, it's nonsense.
I feel like I'm against it, but at the same time, nobody calls it. Nobody calls it that, do they? I'll go down the KRBS at the weekend, are you? So I mean, how much? Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Paul Scally hasn't gone full John Madejski on this and just named it after himself.
Right, yeah, he's a bit of an egomaniac, isn't he?
Yeah, but yeah, as far as I'm aware, the Reading lad, he's the only one who's done it. I think the Reading lad, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. Oh, the Darlington guy, didn't he? Reynolds Arena.
Oh, the Reynolds Arena, yeah. Didn't they have like a 30,000 stadium and then dropped out of the Football League?
Indeed.
Ridiculous, wasn't it? Yeah,
very good. So Mr. Day, to sum up with Arsenal, we've had 3 good facts, some absolute crackers. The Huey Lewis and News one, I think, for me, is my favourite one out of the 3. Rob's got the most bizarre fan on the planet, Mr. Bin Laden. Yeah. And, so like we say, we're going to have a lineal title. So clearly Arsenal are winning, and Aston Villa will have the chance to take the lineal title off them next week. But, I mean, I can see Arsenal being the last man standing. By the time we finish the Premier League, it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal still have the title of the most interesting club in English football. I
think there'll be a couple of clubs, like, I don't know, Palace or Brighton, who it turns out have got some, like, mental facts about them that just blow it out of the water. Or we'll discover that, like, Fred West was a big Southampton supporter. Something like that. Yeah. Controversial.
Could be. But yeah, I still think Arsenal are in with a shout, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And so Simon Day, thank you very much. We will have Aston Villa next week, so stay tuned for that. And thank you from me.
Thank you.